episode 8 of the Zazu podcast. My name is Caroline, and you can find me on Ravelry as Woolbox, on Instagram as wool_box, and my Etsy shop at zazuyarns.etsy.com. First of all, I am not wearing any makeup, and I don't really care. I just don't feel like putting on any makeup today. And I have that more often, but I didn't do that yet on camera. Although I did do that in Italy, but maybe the lighting was better there. I don't know, but this is me. This is how I was born, or at least how I developed after I was born. So you were going to see this eventually anyway, so then which is kind of funny because I have a bag there that says I need makeup, but I don't really need it because I won't die if I don't wear it. That's how I feel about that. Okay, then I hope you had a really nice week or weekend or both. I'd love to hear what you did in your weekend, so tell me about that in the Ravelry group if you want to. My weekend was really nice. We went to my parents' place, and they're still in Italy, so we had the place to ourselves, which was great because I already said that we live in a pretty tiny apartment here in Utrecht, and it was nice to have a garden, to go outside and eat outside, which I love in the summer. Because I don't know if you know this about the Netherlands, but this is a rainy country. So I think for the whole fall and winter, and a lot of time in the spring and summer as well, it rains. And that makes me crazy sometimes. So whenever the weather is good and the temperature is good, I really want to go outside. So that was really nice. And it was also very nice that we could park our tiny car in the driveway, because in Utrecht here, where we live in the city center, as I said, we have to park our car way outside of the center. So that's a few kilometers away. I don't know what it is in miles, but I think it's at least 2 miles. So normally we ride our bikes to our car, and then if we have to pick up stuff, we drive the car back to the house, and then do our thing with the car, like go places and then drive it all the way back and then pick up our bikes and go back home. That's how it works here. And I know probably all of you or a lot of you who own a car can park it right outside their house or in a driveway or whatever. Well, we don't have that luxury. So we enjoy the really tiny things, like being able to park our car outside the house when we did grocery shopping. So that was nice. No biking with big bags or whatever. So enough about that. I'm just going to start the knitting stuff. My whips. Well, last time I had a lot of whips. Well, I'm not going to show you them all because obviously I didn't work on them all, because I had like 7 whips, so that meant that I had to work on at least one thing every day to be able to show you something on everything. Well, that's not possible. Well, at least not for me. So I'm just going to show you the stuff I worked on this week. First of all, and this is in my Mina Makes bag from the Knitting Expat podcast, my Mermaid socks. I didn't work a lot on them, but I did work on them. I think this is a perfect project to take with me to knit night, because on knit nights we chat a lot and stuff, so I need something mindless so I won't make any mistakes. And I'm right about to start the heel. As you can see, this is the other sock, and as you can see, it's time to start the heel. I will be counting that. So what I normally do is I knit the first sock and just try it on to see when I should start the heel or the toe. And then I keep this with me, and as soon as this is near where the heel should start, I'm going to count the rows. Exactly. And then if it all matches up, I'll start the heel, and then I'll count the rows until I decrease for the toe, so I have 2 exact same socks. I also do that with the ribbing. So this ribbing here is exactly the same amount of rows as it's here. Although sometimes it looks different, but it's the same. And I'm knitting this out of my own hand-dyed yarn, Zazu yarns, in the Mermaid colorway, which is why I call them my mermaid socks. And I'll show you once again the really weird ball skein. No, I don't know what you call this, because it's not a cake anymore. It's not a real ball. It's a weird hump of yarn. And the colors come out different than they are, but that's the story of my filming life, I guess. I'm still having fights with my ball winder, and I tried quite a few things. I tried cranking it slowly, faster, putting tension on the yarn, putting no tension on the yarn, doing all kinds of things, and it just doesn't work. And it's pretty funny because Mina from the Knitting Expat podcast last week, in her episode from last week, she told about her fights with her ball winder. So Mina, if you're watching this, I totally know what you're coming from. I feel your pain, because I have the exact same ball winder. And I don't know what it is. I mean, I just wind. I mean, what? How difficult could it be, right? I mean, it's just winding. What could I possibly do wrong? I mean, it's just cranking and that's it. It's not like there are some really advanced settings on the thing, so I don't know what I'm doing wrong. But every time I make a cake, even if it looks good, the inside will fall out of the cake. So you'd think that I don't tension my yarn hard enough. Well, then I tension my yarn, and then I can't get the thread out, or it's one. I really don't know what to do. And the funny thing is, Maria from the Stitch in Sweden podcast, if you haven't seen that podcast, watch it, because it's great. Maria from the Stitch in Sweden podcast has the exact same ball winder as well, only in a different color. And she makes the most wonderful cakes. I don't get that. Am I just a really weird person? Yeah, okay, I'm weird, but am I weird, too weird to wind a cake of yarn? Or, I don't know. So Maria, if you are watching this, please tell us what you're doing. Do you talk to your ball winder? Do you pet it? Do you give it cookies? I don't know what you're doing, but she makes the most wonderful cakes. They look ready to be photographed for a knitting magazine, okay? This looks ready to start playing soccer with. And then, even then, it's weird, you know? I mean, this is hand wound after that, but still, it has some weird fluff coming out of it. Weird stuff. So I'm really curious. So Maria, if you find the time someday, I would love a video on how you do that, because I can't seem to get it right. And if anyone else has experience with this, tell me about it. If you know how to do this, or if you're ready to throw away your winder as well, I don't know. It's pretty weird. It's just weird. Then, to try to forget that, I worked on Seep's hiking socks. And Seep is my boyfriend, if you didn't know that yet. And that is also in my Mina Makes bag, the stripy one. And I have a button of the Tour de France on it. And it's from Miffy. I think you guys call it Miffy in English. And I just got a few of them when the Tour de France was here. So I put them on a few project bags. Wow, my brain is probably just as tangled as that ball was. I don't know. So I worked on those, and this is how far I am. So I did quite a bit on the leg, and as I already said, the whole leg is ribbing, so that's why it's not going as fast as a normal sock. And I actually don't like doing ribbing, but I think this is the only way that he will really enjoy wearing them, so the only way he will be wearing them. So I'd work a little bit longer on them and have him wearing them than make normal socks and have him wearing them once a year, right? I mean, there's no point in doing that. So I think I will be doing just a little bit more and then start the heel. So I might go, I don't know. He has large feet, so I have to make sure I have enough yarn to do the foot. And I will be doing a contrasting heel and toe, which will be in a creamy color, just like the one here. And I think I showed you that yarn in last week's episode in the acquisitions part, because I don't have it here. The yarn I'm making this out of is Fable print by Drops, and the colorway is 671. And I'm using Knit Pro Nova needles in size 3mm. So that's that. Don't really have anything else to say about that. Then I'm working on something really exciting. Maria from the Stitch in Sweden podcast, which I already mentioned, she has a new design, and it's not out yet. I'm test knitting it. I'm test knitting it for her, which is a lot of fun. And I already talked about this last week, and I started it. I have to untangle a bit. I'm sorry. Ooh. Okay. And this is it. It's a lace shawl. I'm trying to show you. Maybe you can see it with that white on the back. It's got some sort of leafy pattern. And I don't know, I like it. It's the shawl, the photo of the shawl she's wearing on the pattern is lovely. I mean, it's really airy. It looks really squishy, and I don't know, it's a really big shawl, so it's warm, but because it's so airy and lofty, I don't know how to explain this, but it looks really elegant as well. So I really like that, because this will be a shawl you can wear really good with your coat, just for the warmth. But it's also a shawl you could really wear with, I don't know, like a black dress, like more of a accessory thing. So I really like this, and I know that I will really love the end product. It is, to me, it is a little bit harder of a pattern, because the lace is not only on the right side of the shawl, but also on the wrong side. And it's not really hard, but you have to keep track of where you are, because sometimes you forget that you're working on the wrong side, and then you want to purl on the right side, or do you understand what I'm saying? Normal lace shawls normally are lace on the right side, and on the wrong side you purl all stitches, for instance. So every time you work lace, you know, oh, the next needle will be purling. Well, you can't do that with this, so you have to pay attention. And you have to count your rows, Caroline. Yes, because what did I do? I started the third lace portion too soon, so I was actually further than this, and I started the lace section too soon, so I was somewhere in the middle of it, and I was like, something with that stitch count is off. And then I looked real close, and then I saw I started it too soon, which made for the wrong stitch count, because, as you know, in a normal triangular shawl, you increase every other row, blah blah. I missed that row. So I'm going to have to fix what's on the needle right now, because there are a few stitches that are how do you say that? Dropped. Wow, my brain is so fabulous today. So I have to fix those. Like, for instance, here you can see that this one needs that loop, but I just put it all on the needle to make sure that it wouldn't drop any further, and I have more of those, like here in the middle. You see that this loop? Well, that's a loop that should go on that and that stitch. So I have to fix that whole row, and then I can continue. And I will be counting better then. But I do really love it. I'm knitting this out of a pretty special yarn. It's from Lindewool, which is a Dutch dyer, and it's a 50% British Falkland merino and 50% tencel. And the tencel gives it a really nice shine. I will show you the cake, or whatever this is. So as you can see, it has a shine and also a little bit of a halo to it, but the only downside is that, of course, this color is pretty washed out again. It's way darker in real life, but whatever. It is the way it is, and I can't change that. Maybe it's more like that. Yeah, it's more like this. Whatever. The only thing about this yarn is she only sells this on fairs, so you can't buy this online anywhere. But you might Google Linda Wool, and maybe in the meantime she did set up a shop. But I remember that she had a shop with other stuff she made. I thought it were lamps, or, well, not really yarn related, but she didn't sell the yarn on there, and I don't know why. Maybe because the colors differed all the time, I don't know, but she only really sells it on fairs. But you might contact her, find her through Google, and maybe she can work something out with you. I don't know. But it's a really nice yarn. It's 100 grams and 800 meters, so it's a fingering weight, I guess, or a lace weight. I don't know. It's probably a lace weight, but it fluffs up pretty much, or it blooms, or I don't know how you say that, which gives it more of a fingering weight look. So I don't know. I just thought it worked great in this shawl because it just looks great. So that's what I'm working on. Sometimes I just talk and talk and talk. So I will stop that. Then, and this was also in a bag with buttons. Enjoy the little things like putting your car on a driveway, people. Then I have been working on my own pattern, and I have to take a sip of my coffee before it gets cold. And I'm not really going to show you that. I already said I would work on that, and I kind of worked on it in the colorful shawl of the yarn that I showed the shawl last week as well. It's made from this yarn. You remember? It's the Drachenwolle from Austria. And because I was already knitting this shawl, I just thought, why not try some stuff I thought of some stuff I wanted to put in the shawl. And I was like, well, if I'm already knitting this one without a pattern, I might as well just try that stuff out on this shawl. So I did. And it's not really the way it's going to look like in the real pattern. So it's just going to be a tryout shawl, and I will like it as well, I guess. So I also worked on that same shawl in another yarn. I have to say, one note. As I said, we were going to my parents' house in the south, and I packed a whole bag with all my yarn, and then some of the project bags with all the projects. And I forgot the whole bag. I took everything with me, I took my projects with me, and then we were in the car, and of course, then you arrive at the place, and then you think, oh, I forgot the bag with the yarn I wanted to use for my pattern, my own pattern. So, I bought some other yarn and worked on that. Worked on it with that. But it all started with the shawl I showed you last week, and I'm showing you a part of it. And I'm not showing you this because I want to keep it kind of a nice surprise what it looks like. And if I'm going to show you bits and parts of it right now, then I don't like that. Come on, everyone likes a surprise now and then, right? So I'm going to save that for when I finished the pattern, and I hope to finish that within 1-2 weeks, so it will be ready for test knitting. I really want to finish that and have it up for test knitting before I leave for Indonesia, which will be in 2.5 weeks already. So if you would like to test knit for me, please let me know. Send me a message on Ravelry, and depending on how many people respond, I already have one person that sent me a message weeks ago saying that she wanted to test knit, so she will be testing it if she wants to. Anyway, and depending on how many people respond, I will pick a few people to test knit this pattern. Then FOs. I don't have any, so that's the whole FO section. I just don't have one. Stuff happens. Then acquisitions. As I already said, I worked on my own pattern, and since I forgot the whole bag with yarn, I had to get some other yarn. At least, I think that's the way it goes. If you are sad that you left all your yarn babies behind and you're missing them, the only thing that can help is new yarn, right? I mean, whatever happens to you, whenever you feel down, you just buy yarn and everything is fine again. So I did just that because that's me. So the first thing I bought was this yarn. To work on that pattern, and I'm already working on that pattern with one ball. I bought 3 of them, and the third one's on the project. It's by Lemmy Yarns, and it's a sock yarn. It's a 75% virgin wool, 25% polyamide, and the colorway is 003. And it was just a simple sock yarn, wasn't expensive, so worked for me. And I think I will not be using these 2 for my pattern, so I will keep them in my stash to make socks or whatever out of. I really like the color. It's slightly heathered. It's not totally. Maybe you can see that if I hold it up close. Well, you might see that there are darker spots in it and lighter spots. So those go diving in my stash. Then, because small sock yarns always need bigger baby brothers. The baby sock yarn needs a bigger brother. I bought some other stuff. And that's this yarn. And I absolutely adore the color. And it's a shame that the color is washed out again, because it's a really rusty color. It's a little bit more, it's warmer than you guys see it right now. I don't know if it's visible, maybe here. Yeah, that looks more like it. I saw this and I was like, it's coming home with me. And it's not 100% wool. It's 52% wool and 48% acrylic. And normally I don't buy stuff like that. But I thought it would be a really nice yarn for a hat and maybe a scarf or whatever. And I really, really, really like the color, so I was like, I'm just going to take this with me. It's 100 grams and 155 meters. I think this is, how do you call that weight? Oh, no, I forgot about it again. Well, I might think of it later. The color is 6-0. It's a superwash yarn by Katia, I think. I don't know how you pronounce that. And does it have a needle size? Yes. Needle size 4.5 to 5.5 millimeters and a USA size 7 to 9. Well, so I bought 3 balls of that. And I think I will make something out of this for me, myself, and then, and not only you, but also I have been waiting for this a pretty long time. And it's not really an acquisition, but it kind of feels like an acquisition. I made up my mind about the Stephen West knit-along. I made up my mind which yarn I wanted to use for the exploration station. Well, not really which yarn, but the colorways. Or at least partly. I'm going to use these 3 colors. And I am going to add a 4th color because I need 4 colors. But because, and I will talk about this later in the shop update stuff, I will be trying to dye another color. I want to wait for that color to see if it jives with this. But at least I'm going to use these 3. And if it doesn't jive, I will add this one. So this one is the 50 Shades of Brown colorway because it's a grayish brown. And again, it's pretty washed out, which is a bummer, but you can't help it, right? Then this one is the Hay colorway, and there's more green to it in real life. It's more like a mustard colorway than what you see, I guess. It looks warmer on my screen than it is in real life. I don't know. But it's the Hay colorway. Then I'm using this one, which is called Summer Storm. And it's a nice grayish blue, and it's also a little bit different than what you see on the screen. It's a little bit more gray. And then I'm using just a natural colored one. So at least these 3. And then I'm still, as I said, either this one or a warmer, redder, brownish. I don't know. We'll see. But at least I will be casting this on somewhere this week or this weekend. Because everyone's starting in my knitting group. And I'm super behind if I don't start it fast. Then, on that note, or whatever, I want to say a few things about the group, and I'm going to take a sip of the coffee again. That wasn't a sip, that was just a whole thing, because otherwise it will be going cold. First of all, I want to thank everyone that posted in the group and commented and showed me what they were working on or what they are working on. I really like that. I really appreciate that. I love interacting with you guys. I love chatting with you guys, and because I obviously can't see you all the time. So thank you for that. Don't feel obligated to post anything over there, but if you like it, I really appreciate it. Then, the questions and answer thread is not really jiving yet, but I don't know. I got some answers to my questions, but I did not get any questions from you, so I will just wait until those come, and otherwise I will move on to the next section or segment. I don't know. But I did get some tips for the yarn shops in Indonesia. No particular ones, but someone did mention I could check on marketplaces, which was a good one, because I didn't really think about that yet. But if you know a yarn shop in Indonesia on either Java, so for instance Jakarta or Bandung, or on Bali, let me know if you want to. And then I want to mention some special people. First of all, Sharon. She is Elven's Knits, and she posted quite a lovely story on the group, or in the group. She actually opened a introductions thread in the Zazu podcast group, so which was a great idea, because there wasn't an introductions thread. So good one, Sharon. And she shared a lovely story about how she started knitting and who she is and where she lives, and so I love that. So if you if you have a story like that to share with us, if you would like to share that with us, please do so in that thread. So we would like that, right? So Sharon, thank you very much for doing that and posting the messages you posted. Then I didn't really discover. I have met someone through this podcast, who is really funny. She's just a wonderful person, and she started her own podcast, which is called the Mama Grizzly Knits podcast. It's by Annette, and she's just really funny. She reminds me of myself sometimes. Like, the structure in my podcast, as you can see today, is gone with the wind. Well, she begins her podcast really structured, but she has a lot to show you and to tell you, because she makes all kinds of super fun stuff, and she just goes along with that, and I really like that. And her smile is wonderful. So if you go to her channel, watch her podcast, and if she smiles, just pause and put that as a screensaver or something, because then you will start your day really good if you open up your computer. And maybe this doesn't make any sense at all, but that's me as well. And I already had quite a few laughs on Instagram. Then I posted something, and then she was like, I don't know, she's just funny. Go watch her podcast, Mama Grizzly Knits. Then, oh yes, in the group, the Exploration Station knit along. Well, as I already expected, there are not that many people joining, which is logic. I mean, it's just one pattern, one particular pattern. And if you don't want to knit that pattern, then there's no use in joining. But there are 3 people, 3 people that are joining. So because these people are brave people to join, I want to mention them. It's Nadia LA 87. It's Dutch Spin Lady, and it's Kralaline. And Kralaline is also a Dutch dyer, and she is her first name is also Colleen. So that's really nice. Okay. If you are not participating in this one, or you don't want to, that's obviously that's fine. Do write down in your diary or whatever. I will be hosting a new cal when I get back from my whole holiday trip to Indonesia. And that has something to do with the fact that in November, it's my birthday. So I thought, let's do a knit-along that either ends on my birthday or is around my birthday. I thought that would be nice, because November normally is a pretty rainy month, so we have to have something to keep us going, right? So, there will be a new knit-along, and I don't really know yet what I want to do, but it might at least have something to do with the new pattern I want to release. That said, I am really curious about one thing, other than everything you want to share, of course. I want to know, and you can be honest, how old do you think I am? Don't try to look it up, because I don't think it's anywhere. But how old do you think I am? I am really curious on what you guys think. And you can be honest. If you say 45, if you think it's 45, just say 45. And now you kind of know that it's not, but whatever. So, if you want to take a guess, I think that would be pretty funny, right? I think that's funny. So, tell me, what age do you think I am? So, and I don't know what I'm going to do with that info. I just think it's funny to know how old you guys think I am. Maybe I'll give away something. I don't know. Then, I think we're through, apart from the shop update. So if you don't want to see that, it's not much really, but if you don't want to see that, then I hope I will see you next week. And if you do want to see some stuff, then stay around or stick around. I will be dyeing some new colors this week. I don't really know when I will be updating my shop, because I will be having a pretty busy week. But I will try to do at least some updating by Friday morning. Because there are already some colors sold out, so I will try to work something out, but there will at least be some colors updated by Friday morning. Then I already dyed up, and that will be in the shop, some magic dust on the normal base. I have it on glitter base, but this is the normal base. which is a tonal purple, and it's a little bit darker than it shows on the screen, I guess. It's a little bit different, but whatever. You can find that on Etsy as soon as I update it. And I will try to dye up a new colorway because I have an idea. Other than that, I don't really have a lot to say about that. I hope I'm not really sure what I'm able to dye up this week, how much time I will be having, but I will try to do some of this stuff again, the 50 Shades of Brown, and I will try to do some of the unicorn poo as well. Ooh, okay, that dropped. Unicorn poo is what it says. It's unicorn poo, and it looks really washed out on your screen, and it's a little bit brighter in real life. Maybe you can see it like this. It's more with, yeah. So, but we'll see what I get done this week. We'll see. I know that this episode is not really, it doesn't seem prepared. It is, but as I already said, my mind is somewhere in that closet or something like that. I'm going to get what I just dropped. Okay. Well, on that note, I think I'm really done. I hope you have a really nice week this week. I hope you have a really nice weekend attached to it, because don't we love the weekends? I will have something really nice. I hope I will be able, or they will allow me to make a clip or something, but this Friday I will be visiting a friend in Amsterdam, and while I'm there, I thought I might as well visit Stephen West and Penelope's yarn shop. Right? I mean, you gotta go to yarn heaven when you're near yarn heaven. So, when I go there, I will try to at least make some pictures or film a little bit, and then you can see as well. And of course, if my budget allows it, I will take something home with me. And Seep is not really watching this episode, so I can say that. And then I guess I will be knitting the whole weekend, something like that. I don't know. At least I'll have some new stuff to show you next week. Have a really nice weekend. Happy knitting. Knit something beautiful, and if you knit something ugly, then it was really good as well, and then you just rip it out or whatever, and just have a great week. Bye.